Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show. And I'm so excited to have another amazing guest. If you have heard of human design or gene keys, then this is the person that you probably already know. Or if you don't, then you need to. So, this is Emma Dunwoody. Say hi to Emma, everyone. And Emma is a master coach in human design, a podcaster, an author, and just general guru in this space. So, I'm so pleased to have you here on this show. So thank you very much for joining me, Emma.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And of course, if there are human design lovers out there, just for your own information, I'm a 3-5 emotional manifesting generator, cross of planning as well, because I'm sure they want that information if they know anything about human design.
So what for the people that don't know about human design, what does that mean?
Well, so what that actually means is it's how my energy is all wired. It's my blueprint. It's what I love to talk about our human design as it's our treasure map to all the answers, to all the magic, our greatness, our potential, everything that lies within us. Human design is the map to access that. I also love, because I'm very practical, I'm a line five. It's like um, the expanded, like the best version of any personality test you've ever done. It's so much more accurate. But it's like it's the deepest knowing of yourself that you can, go and access outside of yourself.
Mm, yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love all of the different systems and the different modalities that really are really here to bring us back to our true self, our authentic self, right? And like you said, our purpose, our potential, because that's what we're here for, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's the most important time in human history, and if you listen to um, any ancient wisdom or maybe channels that are talking about the future or all these different options of how planet Earth is changing. Like one thing that is so universal is that we must be our authentic selves. Like this is how we're going to make it. This is how we're going to get through to this next in human design. We call it the new paradigm, but whatever you call this next iteration of humankind.
Yeah, new earth, new paradigm, all the things. I got the shivers there. So, because it's very much true to what I believe in and what I'm here to help my clients with and shift through my essence as well, right? And this is
Yeah.
so beautiful. I love that. So, what actually drew you to human design in the first place? Like, how did you find it? Like, and how did it make a shift in your life to the point that you're like, this is my calling. This is what I need to be doing.
Yeah, so I love this question because I love to tell people that human design came to me 3 times before I actually picked it up. Um, because the first time I was like, I'm a behavioral coach. I do not like this language. It's too negative. Don't like it. Not doing it. Then the second time I looked at it more specifically to me, and I didn't like what it said about me, especially being a line three. It's called a martyr. So the 3-5 profile is a martyr heretic. So I didn't like what it was saying specifically about me and that I was always going to live in this trial and error. And I was like, oh God, I mean, it feels true, but I know it. I like it. Um, so the third time was actually when I had already completely retrained. I'd become a master coach. I'd started my business. My business was, in corporate. I was executive coaching, performance coaching with C-suite, running workshops, leadership. And I felt like there was something missing. And I completely changed my life. I'd healed myself from depression and panic disorder. By that stage, I'd had 2 kids. We'd kind of been through a rocky part in our marriage, and that had healed. We'd moved from regional Victoria to Sydney. And, I'm like, God, I know I'm on the right path, but I still feel like there's this piece missing. And I kind of made this declaration. I was like, okay, universe, you really need to like smack me in the face with this piece. And if you can be really clear, I promise I will follow what you want me to do. And at the time, I didn't realize that the universe had already brought me human design twice already. And I was like, no, thanks. Um, so this time, when it came across my attention, I was like, okay. So it came up within a 48-hour period, probably 5 or 6 times. And it was back when no one was talking about it. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't like it is now. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. okay, I feel like I need to actually run this experiment. And I just Googled Human Design Expert Australia, and there was like one that had basically been doing human design since its beginning. And she lived 10 minutes away from me. And it turns out that she'd also trained with the person who was closest to the guy who channeled in all the information. And she read my chart, and there I was sitting with this complete stranger that was basically telling me what my chart said and reflecting back to me the authentic, like me, my most authentic version of me. And I was like, how does this person know this about me? I mean, she's languaging things I've never languaged. It's just feelings that I've had on the inside. So that was really the beginning of my journey. I was all for it. I was like, okay, I'll run this experiment. That's all it is. It's just an experiment. And I started integrating it into my business. It actually, guided me to change the name of my podcast, like all of these things. And look, honestly, the rest is history. I get to live my dream life every single day. And it's because I've just followed the path, followed my design.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess is that the inspiration for the people that you're here to serve and help as well?
Yeah, look, I think it is. And I think the other part for me is, I like to call myself a lifestyle entrepreneur.
Hmm.
So I'm helping people, visionaries that they want to have an impact in the world,
Hmm.
but a lot of that they don't live to work. They want to work to live.
Hmm.
They want to actually, sorry.
Clearing some throat stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They want to work less, they want to live more, but they still want to have a big impact. So I think that's a lot of what I'm doing, what I teach is that you can still have a big impact, but you don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to burn yourself out to get there.
Hmm. And that's huge. Honestly, like a lot of the women that I deal with as well, again, it's very similar, right? Have their own businesses, entrepreneurs. I'm a two-time entrepreneur, and it's like my previous life, owning a digital media and marketing recruitment company, I was living in overdrive. I was living in
Yeah.
burnout, living in the masculine. I was the overdoing, the ambitious. And when I really like looked at myself, I had to shift all of that and to move fully into my purpose and my spiritual and healing business. It's like I cannot operate from that space. I have to operate from aligned flow, intuition, but also taking the aligned action. That ambition that I have is like has to be fueled from a place of overflow, not from a place of like, I have to do this or I'm not going to be successful, right? And I see that with so many of my clients. Actually, we've done so much receiving work in the last few weeks alone with my clients. It's such a big, important thing for people that are here to make a difference in the world and are here to shape and support and heal and the world, other people, animals, whatever your calling is.
Yeah.
That's what we're here
Yeah.
for.
I love what you said as well. I think it was really interesting that, I'm a line three. So one of the things that I'm here on the planet to do is to experiment. And
Yeah.
I keep trying stuff out. I'll do it a bunch of times. Like I'm the kid that tries something out, I experiment, I fall down, I get back up. I'm also the person that apparently has a cough right now. Um, I'm also the person that, because of this trial and error, because of this constant experimentation, I can call out what doesn't work. I'm kind of the one that, like, I'm awkwardly sidling up to someone saying, actually, that doesn't work. You should try this over here because I've tried a bunch of things. And one of the things that you said that I really want to respond to that I think is so important, and through my journey, I've really understood this is we are building business as the masculine.
Mhm.
I had this moment, I'm like, oh shit. Hopefully I can say that on this podcast.
I've said much worse, trust me.
Okay, cool. I've had this moment where I'm like, oh my God, I've climbed this mountain and I'm standing at the top of this masculine business mountain and the buck stops with me and I am like making all the decisions and I'm doing all the leading and I'm like, no, hang on a second. I don't think I'm designed this way. So one of the big things that we have to understand as entrepreneurs, if we lead with the feminine, like if that is our primary energy, because we all have both,
Yep.
and we all identify, and I don't love the word identify, but we all lead with one or the other.
Hmm.
One's going to be more prominent in us.
Hmm.
And if we lead with the feminine, then we have to understand that business is about receivership, like you were saying. It's not about the actions. I've had to like white knuckle grip on my business, and I've had to let go of a lot of it because for it to really expand, I need to be in receivership as opposed to being, this big action taker. And I was once described by a coach, it's like you're like a feisty little dog. You're gonna get what you want. I'm like, yeah, I fucking do, because no one, my conditioning, my trauma was no one's coming for you, Emma. So if
Yeah.
you want something, then you got to go work it out yourself.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about human design is that we really want to get into the nuance, the authenticity of who we are. In my personality sons, this is the biggest energy we have. I have the gate 37. It's called the gate of the family. It's the gate of friendship. But if we overlay the gene keys, we're actually talking about in the shadow, it's weakness. It's where the feminine cowers away from the masculine. It's a quality and its gift, but in its highest state, its Siddhic state, it's tenderness. It's the divine mother. And I've had such a long journey of being okay with being supported, being held, just being versus doing, and I think that's what I love about human design is that it's kind of, I feel like it encourages me in the direction that my ego sometimes is like going kicking and screaming, but my heart's like, this feels true, right? And I'm like, yep, this feels true. So it's safe. We can go there. So at every level, I'm not at that level that I once was, where I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was like, how do I build a business? And I've got to hustle over here, and I'm raising two small children over there, and I'm studying over here, and oh my God, how do I do it all? I'm now at a very different place. Like, I've already created the life of my dreams, and now it's all about expansion. But the thing is, am I brave enough to receive? Am I brave enough to let go? Am I brave enough to fully embody these higher expressions that happen to be very feminine? And it's like, that's my next journey. And again, my human design and my gene keys is that constant invitation into, hey, Emma, you know how you've always wanted to know your greatness? Well, it's not what you thought it was. It's more about being in the queen energy versus the king energy. And that is for so many of us that are high achievers in this space. It's going to be one of the hardest things we ever do.
Mm-hmm. And how do you support with human design and or the gene keys? How do you support women that are these visionaries, that are these high achievers, that are here to do something amazing in the world? Especially when it comes to like, spiritual or healing modality, because you also have to have that surrender and that intuition and that softness. It can be a real challenge to build business from your authentic place. How does human design help someone with that?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because I think the other beauty of all of this is it shows us how we're all so uniquely designed.
Yeah.
So we're all out there teaching, but we're teaching you our experience. What I'm hopefully teaching so many people is how to have their experience, not just teaching my way of doing it. I mean, we've got so many people out there saying, this system, this is the way you market, this is the way you write an offer, this is the way you build a website. No, it's not. It's your way of doing those things. So I think the beauty of human design, like how we do that, is we just get to know ourselves really, really deeply. I had this conversation with someone today, actually on my podcast, where I was talking about one of the profiles, the 5-1 profile. I'm like, I feel like the 5-1 profile is fundamentally quite a masculine energy, because these people are like, like world movers, game changers. Like, give a 5-1 something to build, and it will be done yesterday better than everybody else. Like, these people are extraordinary.
Mhm.
Yet anyone who has a line 3 in their profile, there's a lot more experimentation and playfulness and adventure, and that's more feminine. So it's like, although these things aren't specific to the masculine and the feminine, you can feel the energy of it. I mean, I think it's really interesting, you've got the 48. The 48 is like the divine feminine sits in there. The 48 says, if I am willing to look at my deepest depths, then I will be the wisest person here. And it's a divine feminine. I always think like one of my totem animals is the Black Panther. And I'm like, the 48 she is the 48. The panther is the 48, because she is like, I'm not afraid of the dark, people. In fact, the dark is where once we bring light to it, it's extraordinary. Yet you also have the 54. And the 54 is all about ambition. It's a very like, right, it's tribal energy. It's like, I'm going to expand the shit out of this, you know? And the 53 together and the 54, like these two are like absolute masculine building powerhouse gates to have. So, you know, like it's everywhere in there. And the whole point is we just want to start to experiment, to play, to feel, to get to know ourselves on this level. And ultimately, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, dude, I don't know all my gates, I'd say come back to strategy and authority. Strategy and authority is always going to be the thing that when in doubt, throw everything else out and just go back to strategy and authority. And again, for me personally, I'm an emotional authority. So I'm ebbing and flowing, and you know, it's that more feminine, fluid kind of energy. Whereas for you being sacral, it's almost more masculine because it's like, yes, I've got energy for it. No, I don't. You know, it's this short window, you know, in the moment, it's quick, it's fixed, it's done. Whereas for me, it's more feminine. So, and it's not to say that if you're a sacral being, you're more masculine, not at all. It just means that that part of you is more that way inclined. So, yeah, effectively, it's really getting to know yourself on this deeper level and then trusting that, in fact, not trusting, knowing that you're enough just as you are, exactly as you're designed.
So go into for those of my audience that don't really understand about the different types, the different gates, the different like authorities, give us a little synopsis around what that would look like or what that does look like for people.
Okay, so when you first come to human design, you're going to discover what type you are. So you're either a manifester, a generator, the hybrid, which is a manifesting generator, a projector, or a reflector. This ultimately is going to give you how your energy works, your aura works. If you're a manifester, you're here to initiate, start things. You've got this creative urge that runs through you, and then it doesn't. It's an inconsistent kind of creative energy. But don't think that inconsistent is a bad word because it's not. It's just the way they're designed. Then you've got generators. Generators are here to build. So once they're inspired into action, something happens and they respond to it, and they respond to it with excitement, enthusiasm, and then they build the thing that lights them up. Manifesting generators, they're also here to be in response. Yes, you and I are both MGs, but we're fundamentally generators, but we have a little bit of manifestor in us, meaning we have a motor to the throat, meaning that we have this kind of larger than life energy about us. So we will tend to be those, we're very multi-passionate, okay? So if you're an MG, I actually had someone ask me on the podcast this morning about ADHD. So often people who are diagnosed with ADHD are just manifesting generators. We're meant to be multi-passionate. We're meant to be doing a bunch of things at once. I mean, I was writing this incredible presentation the other day, and I was having one conversation over here, building something over there, and there's nothing wrong with me. That's exactly how I'm designed to work. Then we've got projectors. So our manifestors have initiated, our generators and manifesting generators are building. Now our projectors are going, okay, crew, I can see really deep into everything that's going on over here, and you need to do less of this and more of that. They're here to build efficiencies. They see deeply into the other. Then we have reflectors, and reflectors are here to mirror back the truth. So if you have a reflector, let's say, in your community, whatever you see in that person, you are not seeing them. You are seeing your reflection or your community's reflection in them. So they're actually telling us the truth of where things are at, where life is at. So if you are a reflector, you've got to really ask people to spend time to get to know you, because most of the time they're just seeing themselves in you.
That's really fascinating. I didn't know that about the reflectors. And even as you're saying all of those through, I'm like already know who my friends are, even though I haven't even checked their charts. And I'm like, you're this, you're absolutely this. I love that.
Yep.
And then so those are the main types. Then we look at the authority you mentioned.
Yes.
I know you've got gates and you've got, your lines as well, your 6-2s, etc. Where
Yeah.
do they all sit in?
Okay, so the next thing that you want to understand from your type, you're going to get your strategy. Your strategy is kind of like how the universe moves you. Manifester, it's all about informing. Generator, it's about responding. Manifesting generator, it's about responding and informing. Projector, it's about waiting for the invitation. Reflector is waiting 28 days. Okay. Then we go into authority. So authority is our internal guidance system. It's our inner authority. Like literally, let's take our power back from all the authorities outside of ourselves and pop it back where it belongs. That's inside of us. That's our inner authority. Now we have emotional, which is nearly 50% or just over 50% of the global population. Then we have sacral. Then we have splenic authority, which is intuitive. The sacral is very, yes, I have energy for this. No, I don't. The emotional is waiting for emotional clarity. And so it happens over time. Then we have the splenic, which is the knowing in the moment. Then we have the ego authority, which is talking about heart desires. Then we have self-directed, which is, again, is talking about everything that's going to get them closer to experiencing more love or direction. And then we have mental projectors, which is all about, they talk about their thinking until the knowing drops in. So there's a lot more nuances to that, but basically these are our authorities. Once we have our strategy and our authority, we actually can just do that. Like, just keep following your strategy and authority and everything else will fall into line. Then after our authority, if you're like us and like, yeah, I'm not going to wait around. I want to go as deep as I can so that I can get the transformation.
Tabs open.
Exactly. Yep. Get it all done now, last week. And so you want to go next to profile. So you're going to have two numbers. Okay. So you've got a 6-2, I've got a 3-5. It's fascinating because we are what's called harmonic profiles. So the 3-5 and the 6-2 gel really well because they kind of sit, without being way too complicated, they sit at the opposite side of the hexagram. So they have this like harmonic. So when you're up, I'm down, but we kind of get each other. There's this really nice energy of like, we're not the same, but I get you. And our two numbers, I like to think of them as, they're our how. It's how we learn. It's how we move through life. It's how we serve. It's how we market. It's how we build our business. It's how we parent. It's how you name it. It's how. There's these two significant themes. So and it's always going to be a number between 1 and 6. I could go into more detail, but we don't need to do that right now. So the line 1.
Start reading and do reading with you if we want to go into more detail.
Yeah, there's so much. That's the thing about human design, is that it's complicated. It's got a lot of layers. And the big thing is when you do go and get a reading from someone, you want to get it from someone who's actually going to give you information to move forward. Because so often people go and get a reading and they're like, this is great, but how do I actually integrate it into my life? Which is my book, Human Design Made Simple, which is that's all it's about. It's like living your design simply and easily right now. So profile lines. The 1 is the investigator. So if you've got a 1 in your profile, you want to get to the bottom of everything. You want all the answers. You want all the knowledge. Sometimes book learners, but it's very much about gathering information and ultimately become the authority because of how much information you have. The line 2, like you, is it's called the hermit, but I actually call it the gifted child. So these are our really naturally talented humans, but the things that come easy to you are the things that you need to follow. The challenge is because they come easy to you, you don't value them. So the two can get really stuck in, oh, but this thing's so easy. People don't want this. It's too easy. No, that's the point. If it's easy and you do it really well, that's what people want. And they'll project onto you, hey, you do this thing really well. Can you help me with that? So then they're our naturally talented. Then we have our line 3s, like me. It's all through experimentation and trial and error. We kind of fall down, get back up, we try things, we poke the bear, we do this, we do that. Yeah. So if you think about it, we've got the line 1, lays the foundation through knowledge. The line 2 shows us how we all have natural talents and we have to trust those things. The line 3 experiments to improve, okay? Then we go into the line 4, which is all about relationships. So the line 4s are the opportunists. They're called opportunists. The line 3s are called martyrs. I think I forgot to say that. I don't like it. Anyway, the line 4s are all about relationships, and all your opportunities come through relationships. So you must have good relationships. Like, let it go. If it's not a good relationship, you got to let it go, because you will not feel safe in life if you don't have good quality relationships. You'll get job opportunities through that. You'll get business opportunities through that. Even a dear friend of mine who does a lot of marketing with human design, she kind of jokes, the line 4s don't even need to market. They just need to build relationships and they'll be fine. They're the ultimate networker. Yeah. Then we have the line 5. So I'm a line 5. They are the problem solvers. Sometimes they can fall into the rescuer, the savior. We've got to have a really good boundaries, because they are the people that can always fix the problem. Like, you know, that person in your life that you go to and you're like, oh my God, my life is screwed, or I can't work this thing out. And you've got that one person you always go to, line five. They're natural leaders. You know, they love to be on a stage. They also carry a thing called a projection field, which everyone actually projects their wound onto us as line fives. So again, often you don't see a line five for the truth of who they are. You see your wound in them. So I would often get, in my 20s, I remember like I worked in the advertising industry, and I would get these women drunk at events coming up to me going, oh my God, I thought you were such a bitch, but it turns out you're lovely. And I'd be like, what the hell? Like, I'm the nicest person on the planet. How could you ever think that about me? And it kept happening. So I was like, oh my God, what am I
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
And really, it wasn't me at all. I had the puzzle piece, so I had low self-worth. I was afraid that I wasn't going to fit in. So I had the puzzle piece that would match, but they were projecting themselves onto me. So as a line five, you've got to be aware of that. Then the line six, they're our role models. They're our visionaries. They're like, okay, the line one gathers the information. The line two shows us how to develop natural talent. The line three makes improvements through experimentation. The line four is all about sharing what we've learned with the community, like getting those ideas out there. The line five is like, okay, we need to like amp all this shit up. We need to make it global. We need to take it to everybody. We've got to lead, lead, lead. The line six watches all of this and goes, yeah, that's pretty cool. But if I take all of that, this is what the new world's going to look like. And they actually then look to the new world as their experience is informing them. And then the cycle starts all over again. The one, the two, the three, the four, the five. So yeah, you're the line six, you are the visionary, the role model. And there's a lot more to that as well, but that's probably going to take too much time.
I'm the hermit.
Yeah.
Role model, then I'm like, okay, bye, see ya. I
Yeah.
have to go sleep for a minute. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
and with I know in Gene Keys it's like if you have say like the equivalent of it, if you have the six, then does that also mean that you have the qualities of the one, two, three, four, five as well?
So you absolutely can. Um, it's kind of like there are certain areas that bleed into the other, if you like. But it's more like if you imagine the line six is kind of watching what the one, two, three, four, five, what they're all doing, and they're having an experience of that. Like they're running it through their own system, and then that experience gives them the opportunity to vision something different. It's like, okay, well, this is how I live through that frame. What about this? You know, so they can. I often think of, you know, I think people like Alan Watts. I don't know what Alan Watts was, but he feels like a very line six kind of energy because he would just stand and talk about his experience and what he'd learned, and through this framework of, you know, kind of visionary expression, but in the same like sometimes he would be talking about things that people just can't grasp because it's way beyond. It's like the next world. And now we listen to his stuff and go, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's great. Yeah, far out. That's easy. But that's because we've evolved.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And then with human design, I know there's so many areas that you can really support in your growth, be that business, marketing you mentioned, you know, attracting clients, obviously if you are in business. But what about like purpose and potential? Like how does someone start to understand like the different parts of their chart to understand how they can manifest or how they can, you know, what is their purpose or how they can, you know, attract, you know, more aligned clients? Like where would that look like in their chart? Or is that too
So
complex?
this is such a great question because I feel like there are probably thousands of people out there building businesses on their answer to that question. Because there's so many places that we can look specifically. And to be honest, at the end of the day, and this is my line three, at the end of the day, if you just discover who you are authentically, if you just live your design as much as you can every day, all of those things are just going to happen by default. Because one of the biggest challenges that we have, and this is why human design is so important right now, is because we live in the information age. We're at the back end of the information age. So what that means is we are all gathering loads of information. However, we're spending all this time in our head. The problem is we're not getting it integrated into the body. Now, the primary thing with human design is to get out of the head and into the body. All decisions are made, everything is made below the neck. Okay. Like if you have mental definition in human design, you are a great thinker. I mean, we're all great thinkers, but if you have definition, it means that you are specifically on the planet to give your thinking to others. It's not to think about you, it's for others. So there is this big move to get us back into the physical body because we can gather all this information. So I could say, okay, well, you look at your incarnation cross, and if it's the gene keys, you want to look at your activation sequence, and you want to look at your pearl sequence. And in my teaching, I'm also going to tell you about your north node and your south node and how that specifically can help you target your audience or your niche. So there's all these different places that you can look in the chart. But the truth is if you can't get it below your throat, if you can't get it into the body, if you can't actually have a lived experience of it, none of it matters. So one of the big things for me is, and again, it's in my core talent, is it's simplifying everything so it's integratable. So people can run experiments every day. Again, my book is all about running the experiment because I'm a behavioral coach. So I'm not really interested in a bunch of information. I'm interested in behavioral change. So what I want to make sure people can do is not just learn, because the thing about human design is you could sit with a person like me for a week and I could tell you about your chart all week. You know what I mean? Like there is so much that we could go into. But at the end of the day, not all of it is really relevant. We don't need it. It's that, again, my core talent is like, I can tell you what's superfluous. I can tell you like, they're all great things and maybe you'll go there one day. But the truth is you want to really focus on these parts. And this is the experiment that you want to do. So depending on let's say you set an intention that you're building a business. Okay. So again, this is a lot of what I teach is around business. So your type is a great place to start. You and I, we're manifesting generators. So what does that mean? Well, fundamentally, simply put, we've got consistent energy to keep showing up for our business. Okay, great. Number one. Number two, we need a ton of freedom. If we lock ourselves into a business, we will sabotage the crap out of that business and it will blow up in front of our faces because we like to be outside of our comfort zone. We love a challenge. We don't want to be trapped. But if you're a projector, let's say, you don't have consistent energy. The thing about your business has to be that you are demonstrating your wisdom, that you're sharing your wisdom. So with my projector clients, and to be honest, I'm doing this with all my clients now, we really focus on things like AI. Like how can AI do all the heavy lifting for you? Because you must maintain the energy you do have for giving your gift, for showing your gifts, for using your gifts through your marketing or whatever it is. So we can start from a type perspective, but then for us specifically, like I've built my entire business off the back of my design. Like every decision is made in alignment with my emotional authority. My entire team, like my team is really manifesting generator heavy. Why? Because I move fast, I pivot, I'm multi-passionate. I got to go over here, got to go over there. So, like having any, projectors in big roles in the business, like the energy wouldn't necessarily gel, unless they were just in maybe working with a projector consultant or something. That would be super fun. But my whole business, like we move fast and we change and we literally get so much information out into the world or whatever it is. So then, I mean, you can go anywhere. Your incarnation cross is all about, Ra called it the job description of your aura. So it's nothing you have to do, but it's really understanding, well, how is my energy serving the planet? I don't have to do anything, but I need to understand. So for me, I'm a cross of planning, and it's all about creating strategy, structure, and community. So this is a lot of what I do. But yeah, there are so many places in the chart that you can look for all sorts of things.
I love that. That's so good. And that's really important as well, actually, when you're starting to build out team, right? So, my previous business that I had for 7.5 years, we're a global recruitment company that specialized in digital media marketing and technology. And we had built our business and, I had my team, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really interesting when you talk about team and dynamics. And that was something as a manager, I would always notice, like I would hire people in my own image. And then my business partner would hire people in her own image because she's very detailed, very like crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And I'm like a dime a dozen. I'm like this. And when you're building team or when you're working coherently, you need someone that can understand, especially as a manager, we've got ideas here, there, and everywhere, and we need people that can pick that up quickly. And if you don't understand that, it can be, like you said, to the detriment of your business because that person won't feel heard or understood or appreciated or unless you can take the time and, and have those management skills to direct that person in the way that works for them, it can be really difficult. So yeah, I can see how.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing, it's so important that, I think one of the things that you just said, it's one of the biggest mistakes we make in hiring. And I mean, you're the expert.
Did it
Um,
for 11 years.
yeah, right. But the biggest mistake we make in hiring is we hire ourselves, like,
Yes.
um, whereas that's the last thing you want. You want the person that's got the gap, got your gaps effectively.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one of the things my entire team we've hired using human design as well. So there's very specific things like my personality sun through the Gene Keys. It's called Your Life's Work. Is actually the core talent of my COO. So we are so, like, our design is so intrinsically connected. We didn't realize it was that connected when I first hired her. But I think that's the beauty of it. Like, if you think about recruiting, like, where your projectors would do so well as recruiters because they can see deeply into other people. Um, like, and I think any type can do any job. It's just you have to do it with authenticity, the way you're designed to do it. I think one of the examples I often use with projectors as well is sales. Like instead of selling the old white guy way, you want to like sell through asking questions, just asking so many questions from the consumer, like asking whoever you're selling to. If you just keep asking questions about their business or about what they're doing or da da da, you're going to demonstrate what you know through the quality of question you ask, and then they're going to invite you in. So it's not like certain types do certain things well. It's not like manifesting generators build businesses better. That's not true. It's just that we build it differently. Like I would, if I had a projector come into my business, let's say, and take one of the big roles, they'd be like, whoa, this is too much. It's too much. It's too much. I can't do all this at once. Like, what do you mean you do all of these things? Whereas the core team for me, like me, T, and Sherelle, we're all manifesting generators. Then we also have like a generator PR person. Then we have every type in the coaching arm. So, I often think like maybe one day when we finally hire like a head of finance or something, maybe we'll bring a projector in.
It will be 100%. My business partner, who's also one of my best friends, she is definitely a projector or a reflector for sure.
Yeah.
She was great, like the finance and the detail and the contracts and all the things I felt were like boring AF.
Yep.
Like, I'll bring in the business. I'm the networker. I'm the face of the business. Bring in the team. I'll get people pumped up. And, it worked. We had that
It's
business.
so beautiful, because that's what we're actually here to do. We're here to succeed through being ourselves, not through running some other person's strategy. We're just literally meant to succeed by being ourselves.
Yeah, I couldn't do that when at the time when, very naively when we moved to Australia and set up our business from scratch, and was like, yeah, we can do this. We can, set up a business. We're great recruiters. At the time, I didn't really appreciate her G zone of genius, because we came in, as making money and building the business and all the things that I was in my element doing at the very start. I'm a builder. I'm very like new business. All of that stuff was what I really excelled at. And it wasn't until later on in the business that her gifts started to coming online. The longer term strategy and the getting like making sure we weren't getting like sued and all of that stuff that I would have just found so painful. But it definitely at the time it created some power struggles because we didn't fully understand each other's zone of genius. And when you're going into business partnership with anyone, it can really be a challenge. Thankfully, after doing lots of work, we come to that resolution. And now I'm like, oh my God, I can see why I used to call you the coupon lady and how you're so good at budgeting and actually how much that was a skill that I had to learn to really anchor in and receive a next level of abundance. So Really cool.
Yeah, I love this so much. I think it's, that is the point, We're not actually meant to necessarily like even yes, we want to learn new skills. Yes, we want to like close the gaps on where we're not naturally talented, let's say. But actually that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is to be the best version of ourselves. And I love, again, I think it's such an example of feminine leadership, feminine entrepreneurship when you guys did the work. You didn't just like, crack it at each other and go your separate ways. You actually chose to do the work. And I think that's what women bring to business is there is a solution and we can grow through this. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this is too hard, get out.
Yeah.
It's actually always a growth opportunity. And I think human design, again, like some of the simplest things, I mean, me being an emotional authority, I think the rest of my team, funnily enough, the rest of my team, my entire family, everyone around me are sacral or splenic. They're all like in the now, in the now, in the now, in the now, where I'm like, I'll tell you on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um, so, even that is so helpful. Like my PR person, if she didn't know when she came in that, okay, the standard here is that I'm an emotional authority. So if you want me to do something, you need to tell me as soon as you know, and then be prepared to wait a day or two.
Hmm.
And, that was a game changer. She's like, oh, thank God. Because otherwise I would have been on your case the whole time. And I'm like, the more you put pressure on me, I've got no clarity. Um, so then you can build a business, you can build it that's in a way that's really in alignment with you,
Hmm.
so that we're all actually playing to our strengths. And I love that you then see that longevity that your business partner brings because, yep, you are going to be out the front, you are going to be taking up. Especially if she is a projector, you're going to take up more energetic space. People are going to be looking at you. She's probably going to feel a bit shit about that if she's a projector. She needs to be seen. She needs to be recognized for her wisdom. But we don't get it because it's not a driver for us. We're not out there to be seen. We're out there to be like, hey, I need to blow this shit up. I need to see what's going on. I need to see what's possible. Um, so I think one of the things I love so much about human design, and whether it's in business, in family, in relationships, is we also know that, okay, if this is how I'm designed, this is how I need to be treated. And if that's how you're designed, that's how you need to be treated. So we actually get to treat people, the people we love. I know I've raised my kids in alignment with their design. We get to actually treat people the way, that's correct for them as opposed to what we think is correct for them.
Absolutely. And this is something that I help my clients embody, right? Which is finding their purpose through their intuitive gifts, right? What are your natural gifts? What is your natural authenticity? Because when we can bring that out and connect with our own in like spiritual gifts that we were born with, we've had through lifetimes, then everything changes, when we start to heal our relationships to others, to ourselves. And that's when we really step into, what we're here for, right? So it's very similar. It's just mine is more with the intuition piece and
Yeah.
the healing and helping them open their gifts in that way. You speak about deconditioning quite a bit from what I've seen. What's like a tangible way that someone can start, releasing like blocks or things that are keeping their energy stuck, especially in the hustle, right? When we're talking.
Yeah. So I love this question because I started my personal development journey um, like 12 years ago. I
Mhm.
could have been, sorry, not 12, 22 years ago. Um, and, I've done so much work around shadow, around blocks, around belief systems. And I actually am watching, things like manifesting just change in front of my eyes. And it's not that it's changing, it's that we're changing. So, one of the big things we want to be really conscious of is that, and this is kind of like, um, whether it's behavioral change or manifesting 101, we need to know where our focus is going because how we feel is what we're creating. Our frequency is what we're creating from. So, one of the things that you want to be super conscious of is that whenever you go into deconditioning work, reparenting, shadow work, limiting beliefs, anything like that, you want to be super conscious that you do not spend a lot of time there. Because at the end of the day, you've got to know these things because once you're aware of them, you can change them. That's what this is about. You want to become conscious of the things that are holding you back. A story that your parents told you around money, let's say, or maybe you had trauma and that's, you're afraid to be that authentic version of you because you ended up with trauma because of it as a kid, whatever that might be. Now, your job is to first and foremost see it, own it, be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's in me. And as we go through the process, we want to integrate because all of our shadows and blocks and there are all these pieces of ourselves that we're like, oh God, I don't want anyone to see that. Let's pop it over there. But what we want to do is we want to actually bring it into the light and say, yep, that is a part of me. And once we own it, then all of a sudden we are starting to integrate it. Now, how specifically human design, and I actually think the Gene Keys
Mm.
nails this really well, um,
Amazing.
is bringing the awareness to, oh my goodness, like, okay, if I have my personality sun, and my personality sun is one of the biggest energies that I'm expressing in my life all day, every day, it has a shadow and it's the shadow of weakness. And I get to sit and I listen to the Gene Keys. I'm dyslexic. There's no way I could read that book. I actually have to listen to it.
It's full on.
Yeah, I've read a lot of books, but the Gene Keys, I'm like, I just read 7 pages. I got no idea what just happened.
What does it
Um,
mean?
yeah, yeah. But when I listen to it, my whole body responds. And I'm like, oh my God, that resonates. Oh my
I
God, that
love
resonates.
Richard Rod's voice, his little.
Oh, so right. Oh my God. And so what happens is that we can actually discover, specifically, oh my God, that's going on in me. My shadow of weakness. Like there's this dance that I've got a lot of polarity in my chart. So a lot of like I've got the fastest channel in the chart, the most powerful channel in the chart. And I'm an emotional authority. So I have to go slow. It's like this constant, like, oh, push me, pull you kind of energy. But that's the way I'm specifically designed. So it's the same with the masculine and the feminine. But how do I work with deconditioning? Well, I just become aware of, oh shit, that weakness thing. When I am cowering from the masculine, which, when people know me, they're like, I can't imagine you cowering for anyone. But
Yeah.
I know that there's a part of me that does. It cowers to that when I'm afraid I'm not enough, when I'm afraid that there's inequality, when I'm afraid there's not support. Um, so we become really aware, oh my God, yep, that's it. That's what's playing out in me. And we can start to actually see where our potential goes. So with the 37, we've got equality and then tenderness. And when we actually understand these energies, it's like, okay, if I'm feeling fear, it's because I'm just operating from the mind. I'm operating from a past story, something old. So what I can actually do is I can look at, okay, this is about equality. Let's talk about equality. Let's talk about fairness here. Let's shift into that place. Oh my God, yeah, fairness. That's why I'm feeling this way because it's not fair. So I need to put a boundary in place or whatever the case might be. So we actually get to play with these energies like in real time and we get to experiment with it. So we decondition so much quicker. Because when we change the brain, we have to have specific language that is relevant to the child that actually made the decision that created the conditioning in the first place. So often I've got a whole spreadsheet that I've created that is literally the limiting belief for each gate that really helps us articulate it as close to we can without being, the person that has the limiting belief. So that you can get clear on what that is and then you can change it. The other beautiful thing about deconditioning with human design is that we have this thing called a not self theme. So, a not self theme, I love to think of it as an indicator. So, it starts at type. We have a not self theme. If you're a manifestor, your not self theme is anger. Generator, it's frustration. Manifesting generator, it's anger and frustration. Projector, it's bitterness. Reflector, it's disappointment. So these are kind of these indicators. Like when we feel as MGs, if we feel frustration or anger, oh shit, I'm in my mind. I'm in my conditioning. I'm trying to be someone I'm not. I'm trying to people please. Okay, cool. Roger that. Got it.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is the being or the actions, the aligned actions that as a manifester give you peace. As a generator, give you satisfaction. As a manifesting generator, give you peace and satisfaction. As a projector, give you a feeling of success. As a reflector, gives you surprise and delight. So we actually have these indicators that are just constant. I like to think of them as like, rails on a bowling alley. Like, you know how to stay in the middle because you know these indicators. And then we have not self themes for every single center, which we haven't gone into. And again, that's a whole nother layer. But there's all these little not self themes that if we actually look at them from the frame, because everyone says, how do I fix it? How do I stop it? How do I change it? And I'm like, You don't fix it, stop it, or change it. It's an indicator. So what it's telling you is out of alignment, out of alignment. That's all it is. So it gives you the choice to do something different, to make a different choice, to move in a different direction, to realize that you made that decision from your head, not your authority, learn from it and not do it again. So that really helps us decondition, because the more that we identify the not self and don't go down whatever the path that we were going down and we choose the aligned path instead, then the more we decondition.
Yeah, beautiful. And have you seen in your work like some common conditioning or shadows that seems to pop up all the time with these more visionary women?
I absolutely love this question. And yes, I think one of the biggest shadows, again, this is one of mine, and and I talk a lot about the shift that I'm seeing in manifesting, but it's this shift, this thing that I have a lot in my audience. I have a lot of high achievers. I've got a lot of fuck you, I'm doing it anyway. Oh, I'm so sorry, I just F-bombed.
No, we have
Okay,
that all
cool.
the time. I'm from Scotland, girl. Come on.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. My mum was Scottish, so I'm all over it. I get it.
Like that flag of the curse.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So one of the things I see so much is in these women that have learned to achieve, let's be clear, you've probably learned to do that through the frame of being the masculine.
Yep.
So leading, focus, take massive action, all this stuff. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have is we have to stop trying so hard. We actually have to learn, you've already said it, to receive. Because the challenge for us is that we don't believe if we sit in our being and
Mhm.
receive that it's going to come.
Yeah.
We don't believe that. We're like, no, I've had to make everything happen. So I'm going to go make this happen. And
Mhm.
even to the point where, if you're really spiritual, like I would categorize myself as a spiritualist. I know that there's something so much bigger than me. I know that it's guiding me. But I mean, the thing that I notice myself do is like I'll be like, well, come on, universe. Oh, screw you. I'll go do it myself. And the thing is that if we learn to just relax into our being, if we just learn to receive and stop trying so hard, then and this is definitely my experience,
Mhm.
is the world opens up to us like ease and flow and grace. And I will say, and this is coming from personal experience as well, the big challenges are letting go of the steering wheel. When someone says, hey, you don't need to do that, I'm going to do it. And you're like, that feels really uncomfortable. I feel like I'm out of control, and for me, I'm always like,
I
queen
can
and
do it better.
exactly. And for me, it's not even do it better. I'm like, oh, that's my responsibility. So line fives, we way overdo responsibility. We take way too much responsibility. So I'm like, oh no, I can't put that on you. I can't put that on you. I've got to do that. I've got to do that. So we will go through these processes and they'll feel uncomfortable, but really the feminine visionary, she literally needs to learn to sit still so she can vision the future she's birthing.
Yeah.
Like we are the creators. The masculine create the container,
Yep.
right? So, and you're going to have masculine and feminine all through your business. And I hired this amazing human she started as a virtual assistant. She's now the operations officer of my entire business. And I've just slowly but surely like passed things over to her. And it's been really hard, but she's so in her masculine in the business. And the truth is that I am the visionary. I'm the one that's taking the brand where we want to go. I'm the one who's here creating all the things. But the moment I put my masculine hat back on, it's like that just diminishes just a little bit. So I really think that female entrepreneurs, they have to learn to be supported. They have to learn to let go of trying so hard. I mean, I talk a lot about hustle culture and burnout. We have to stop forcing ourselves to burnout. And as manifesting generators or generators, in human design, we actually talk about this thing called functional burnout. So we keep going. We're like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still doing the thing. But it's like the fire inside is dead.
Yeah.
It's like our life force is gone. And it's, this place where, if we go to a doctor, they're like, oh, you need to have a rest. But our whole internal system is like, no, you're unplugged, mate. You need to, more than rest, you need to find the passion in your life, in your business, and get back on it. So I think that this hustle culture, that's the thing that we really need to shift, because business can be super easy. And honestly, I think the way that business has been done in the past is so overcomplicated. Again, we have to break all the old rules and just create our own.
100%. I agree with you so much. And I can see how human design would help with that. What part of like your own design, I know you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but what part of your own design have you resisted the most? And like, what did you learn in order to embrace that?
I love this question. So, for everyone out there that has got their chart and they've inevitably got to that point in their chart where they're like, ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, yucky. Let me be super clear. This is where you judge and criticize yourself. This is where you literally resist your heart and soul. So wherever you have deep resistance to your design, you want to go there first. So I
Yeah.
think the first thing was my line three. I was raised by a perfectionist. I was so aware that I was so far from being a perfectionist. I would watch people around me. Um, again, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I would watch people around me like get it, like whatever it is, they got it and they did it, and I'd be like, "What the? That doesn't work for me." But in the same breath, you'd put me in a sporting arena, and I would watch someone do a sport, and I could do it like that, just
Yeah.
like that. I didn't need to know anything. I could just mimic what that person is doing. And again, this is another part of my design. So I think that the other parts for me, the greatest relief was learning that I'm a manifesting generator and that I'm non-linear because I was so afraid I was never going to find my purpose because I couldn't stick at anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm a quitter. I can't stick at anything. How am I ever, like, I get bored, like, oh. And then as soon as I learned that I was non-linear, that what that really means is that you will do so many different things in the context of work. And they all, you'll get to a certain point and, they kind of talk in the original knowledge around 40. You look back and go, oh, wow, I see how all of that actually has a thread that goes through it. But I mean, for me, I've had a successful advertising career. I've been a chef. I've run an equestrian property,
Oh,
a professional sports person. Like then I've become a coach. And even within my coaching, I was a master coach. I worked in corporate. Then I, kind of went in this human design direction. And now I'm an author and a podcaster. And so for me, that was such a relief that I can be all the things because, and I don't need to go, the things with manifesting generators as well is like we learn faster and get out quicker. So whenever we want to learn something, we get in, we get the piece we need, and we're out.
yeah.
Again, I used to think I was a quitter and I was failing. I mean, I've walked this, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Camino de Santiago, which is it's an 800-kilometer pilgrimage in Spain. It's ancient, it's amazing, it's a spirit, like it'll freaking change your life. I've done it twice. And the first time I did it, we got to the end and everyone's queuing up to get their certificate that the church gives you for walking all of this distance. And I'm like,
Nope.
I don't need it. And they're like, what do you mean you don't need it? You've just walked 800 kilometers. I'm like, dude, I know my whole body is aware that I don't need a piece of paper. I got what I need. I'm out,
Yeah.
So that was so freeing for me as well. And of course, my emotional authority. I stopped the full permission to sleep on making decisions, the full permission to be an emotional person, the full permission to understand that, time pressure is my nemesis was just heavenly. Like I was like, okay, I'm a bit of a mess, but I'm a hot mess
Mhm.
and I'm absolutely a game changer. I am this you know, I'm here to demonstrate human potential. It's just not going to look like neat, linear, masculine kind of energy. It's just very feminine all over the place, but still hugely powerful.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. And do you know what? That was actually one of the biggest things for me, finding out I was a manifesting generator, because I was like, I start so many things and, I'm great at starting things, but not finishing things. I mean, just if I have to clean the house one day, I'm doing part washing and then I move to do something else and I'll do half the dishes. And it's like, I get bored very easily,
Yeah,
and it's like, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. It's like
exactly.
once you learn to trust that and know that actually that thing you might have done a year ago, that could just be a seed for growth for something that's going to be birthed 2 years down the line.
Exactly.
To really trust that. And this is again where intuition comes in, right? So it's like once we can be embodied and trust our intuition and know what feels right and doesn't feel right, to trust those little nudges and get clarity on that, then we can do whatever we want. And no path is linear. No path is met. We're not nobody is meant to be the same. We're meant to walk a completely individual, unique path. And I think when people understand that, it's like, oh, it's almost like I have permission. People get to have permission to be uniquely them and do what the fuck they want.
Exactly. And, I love what you said as well, because human design is the science of differentiation.
Yeah.
It's this piece to know that we are all perfect and completely different. And it's that honoring that you know enough, you are enough, you've done enough, because all you got to do is be you. And sadly, in this time in human history, it's actually the thing we find the hardest to be most authentically ourselves and to love ourselves as we are right here, right now, in every moment. They're the things we're the most challenged with because we still live in this world. I know this has been a big challenge for me, is like, and again, it's a line five thing, but I think it's a woman thing, is
Mhm.
that I'm so conditioned to believe that my worth and my lovability is in what I can do for you,
Mhm.
not because I'm just being me. I'm just alive, I'm breathing. So I feel like that's a really big place where we all need to take ownership back of our lovability, of our worth. And it's not because I can do something for you, because I can do amazing things for you.
Mhm.
But that's not what makes me lovable. Being me is what makes me lovable.
Yeah. And those conditionings, those beliefs are actually two of the biggest ones that I see with my clients when we're doing the inner healing work, whether that's ancestral, past life, inner child. It's like these beliefs come up time and time again, and not just with women, but with men. Men that are also on this healing path, men that are, maybe more empathic, maybe overgiving, right? That they have those qualities too. And it's like we're all in this field or this cycle of trying to rebalance our energies so we can actually be authentic, right? And not
Yeah.
too much, not be able to take too much. It's this dance, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
and I always say so, all of my clients, I believe, anyone that's attracted to me or my work, I always call them a rebel soul because I believe they are all rebel souls. So what does that mean to you? The
Oh,
word
so I love this. And I instantly am like, God, I wish I had your chart in front of me because a lot of my marketing is all about being a rebel.
I know,
And
I saw that, the rebellion, and I'm like, that's why I
And
like
it's
you.
and it sits in the 43. The 43 is through the frame of the gene keys, is the creative rebel. It's
Mhm.
the person that basically gives the finger to normality, to um, everything staying the same, and it's just like, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to, um, I'm not going to prove anything to you, but I'm going over here. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to break all the rules, and you can just bugger off because I don't care. Um, and I think what rebellion means to me, and why I think it's so important right now, is because we have to wake up to the fact that the power is within us. It's
Mhm.
not out there.
Mhm.
Like no one is making us do anything. We have to start waking up to the fact that we are powerful as individuals. Our hearts are so powerful. Like I do a lot of heart coherence meditation. I teach it all the time. If you want to know more, go and look up. I mean, you guys probably do it. Go and look up heart math. Like they're amazing. But the point is that the rebellion is to stop letting anyone else tell you who you are. Don't let me tell you who you are. Don't let human design or astrology or business coaches, or don't let anyone freaking tell you who you are. Go and discover who that is for you. And know that that authentic version of you is exactly what planet Earth needs right now. It's what we need from you. We need this rebellion of sovereignty, of freedom, of authenticity, of people standing up and saying, no, that's not okay. And just because, I'm only one voice, I'm one of many, like the people who are oppressing or conditioning or doing that, they're just a few. So the more of us that can stand up and go, nah, I'm not playing your game,
Yeah.
the more we're going to create huge change. And all we have to do is be ourselves, because the more authentic we are, the higher our consciousness goes. The higher our consciousness goes, the more influence we have on the planet, because actually it's not our doing, it's our being that we have the greatest influence. Like if you have on the scale of consciousness, let's say most people sit around 200. If you get to 500, and I've been calibrated, so I know I'm above 500, I'm influencing 600,000 people. Not
Mhm.
the actions I take, just my energy. I am positively influencing that many people, not through my branding, not through my marketing, none of that. Like I'm doing that too. But
Yeah.
the point is that it's our consciousness that matters. So I think that the rebellion is just be you, love you, be authentic, because there is so much power in each and every one of us, and it's our responsibility to use that in a way that moves the human race forward with love and connection and support and equality and all of those beautiful things.
I love that. And that's why I end up calling the podcast Gillian King Connection, right? So it's either the Rebel Soul or the Gillian King Connection. And it's like my work is about transformation, it's about healing, but it's about connection, right? It's connecting back to ourselves, back to our soul, back to, higher levels of consciousness, back to our spirit guides, like connection in every way, because that's what I feel humanity is just missing. It's like we're missing connection to something, to who the hell we are, right? And this is
Yep.
a huge part of what I do with my work as well. So I love that it's
I
just
love that.
always so aligned.
Yep.
What is last question for a jump off, but what is lighting you up right now? Professionally, personally, what is that thing that's like lighting your goddamn spark?
Oh my God, I love this question. I am obsessed with tea ceremony of all things. Oh my God. So I went to a tea ceremony, I'm going to say a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
And so I am also the kind of like, I am the real, again, like kind of pragmatic, practical spiritualist. So I'm not the one that's going to sit in circle and listen to drumming. And like, I'm not really that. I'm kind of like, let me run into the burning fire and see what happens. I'm kind of that energy.
Yeah.
And about a year and a half ago, I went to a friend's place and she had a friend of hers doing tea ceremony. And I'm sitting there in the back garden in this incredible spot in Byron at Ewingsdale. And the birds are singing and the sun's shining and this tea ceremony. And I'm freaking crying my eyes out at the beauty. I'm like, oh, there's something going on here. Anyway, I just
And
thought,
it's tea.
yep, I just thought, it's just my friend, it's this space, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to say about 2 months ago, I thought, look, there's this place here in Byron that everyone bangs on about. I'm going to just give it a go. Just going to go tea ceremony. Well, fuck me. I literally, on Sunday, no, so on Friday, I went twice. I go every day. And the thing that blows me away, I think the reason I love it is because I'm right now, what really excites me is being. What does
Mhm.
it mean to create from a space of being? Because we talk about it a lot, right? We talk a lot about it, but we're talking about it. We're thinking about it. We're trying to understand it. And the ancient wisdom, like it's in the, I think it's in the Bhagavad Gita. I always have trouble saying it. It's like the real truth is that we know nothing until we have an experience of it. And I'm like, okay, I get that I'm being, da, da, da. But this being experiment for me, I'm obsessed. Like I'm obsessed because I really feel like there's this greater way of manifesting and creating through this frame of being, but we don't fully understand it. So the line 3 over here wants to have an experience after experience, like run the experiment so that I can continually run the experiment and then teach people what I'm finding. Now, what tea ceremony does for me is it is still and quiet and silent. So you get to sit in this space, and the actual tea that these people use are from vines at the foot of the Himalayas, or tea trees at the foot of the Himalayas that have been there for 400 years. So I'm like, holy crap. Um, and I'm sitting in this room with everyone meditating. So I like, woof, like the expansion for the meditating, the wisdom from the tea, the silence of everything going on. I'm obsessed with it. And I really feel like as entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, we are in this moment in time that we have to develop our relationship with stillness. And we're all running around chasing our tails, trying to build a business the masculine way. But we just have to learn how to be in stillness. And it's your definition of stillness as well, I have to say.
Mhm.
But so yeah, my greatest obsession at the moment is really understanding the power of being in stillness, creating from being, and tea ceremony.
I love that. Same. It's like I have I've got like two cupboards full of tea, full of loose leaf teas. I'm like
Love it.
present that I got was this beautiful teapot. And I'm like a 80-year-old woman, but I'm like, there is every morning before I do anything, I'll do my cacao ceremony or I'll do my tea ceremony and I'll be present. Before I look at anything, I'll set my intentions, I'll do my meditation, I'll connect, I'll, receive the wisdom for the day. And, you set your frequency, you set your energy, and that's exactly the place you can manifest from,
Oh my God. So if you're ever in Byron, you have to come with me because I'm going to take you to the
I
place
will.
here and you literally sit in this tiny little room. It's so cool with lots of people. But you should so look it up where you are in Sydney. There must be. So this is based on like Japanese tea
There
ceremony, but
is. There
you
is.
got to go do it. Go do it and tell me how you went because it's
Yeah,
so
there is.
good.
There's a couple of girls that I know do it, and I was like meant to do it ages ago, but I never went because I kind of do my own. But yeah, I honestly those things are like perfect. I'm like, if you want to give me a good birthday, take me to a tea ceremony. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what makes me
Oh
happy.
my God.
I'm like,
I'm like, I just want you to come up to Byron so I can take you. Like if you're ever here, let me know.
we're not doing the bars, we're not doing the clubs. I don't do that anymore. But it's like, take me to a tea ceremony
Oh,
and just let me
it's
be with the tea, and I'm like a happy days.
Oh, it's so good. And you know what's amazing is you're sitting there and I mean, every second ceremony, I'm bawling my eyes out. And so is the whole room. Like I'm talking the men. So we have men in the room and
Yeah.
there's just everyone just processing in this sovereign, like resourceful way. Like it's not projected out onto anyone. Some tears are tears of joy, some are tears of trauma, some are
Yeah.
pain. Like, oh, it's just so beautiful. I just love it. I feel like it's such a healthy container for processing everything.
Absolutely. And this is where it is. It's like the magic happens in the stillness, the magic happens in the presence. And that's again where I teach all of my clients, right? It's like we go into these present states and obviously in meditative states, but it's like you said, it can be anywhere. It's like where our mental brain just kind of shuts off and we're just present in whatever that is, whether that's, being creative or whether that's driving or whether that's doing the dishes or whether that's in the shower, we can create
Yeah.
these
Shower.
this shower, the downloads that you get in the shower, I tell you, I
So,
if I need to move energy, I just go for a drive along the eastern beaches because I
yeah.
love such a beautiful place, and I'm just like, oh, just like the sunshine on my face, and it just moves things, and
Yeah.
and this is great if if you think you can't meditate. I mean, everyone can meditate firstly because we just breathe, but
Yeah.
but there's so many ways that you can just slow down, a walk in nature, whatever it is. Just yeah, just taking that presence and having that like the practical nature of just holding the tea, smelling the tea,
Yeah.
looking at the tea, tasting the tea. You're inviting all of your senses and allowing you to get back into the body. So
Yeah. And I just want to add one more thing. I know we've gone over time, but the thing that I just want to add is like through the frame of human design, we're talking about this thing called the solar plexus mutation. Okay. In 2027, we move into into what we call the new paradigm. And this is when the solar plexus mutates. Okay. The really simple idea of this is we are moving from thinking beings to feeling beings. And at the moment, we are at the mercy of our emotions. So we are reactionary. I mean, look at the US right now. Like it is a shit show over there. Um, but it's not because people are feeling the truth and responding. They are reacting with their emotions or they're reacting from their emotions. And we're actually in this time, the mutation is shifting us out of reaction into feeling, like deep spirit feeling awareness. And it's where we're really starting to go, hang on, I actually want to feel into the truth. Like I want to feel into what's going on instead of just being wherever I am in my emotional wave. It's actually that deeper centered feeling. And the only way we can do that is by being exactly present, being there with it. So the whole universe is behind us, planet Earth, this evolution, everything that's going on. And the more that we can feel, the more that we can receive. But if we're only thinking it, we're not feeling it, it's not our frequency. That's why things aren't coming in.
absolutely, 100%. I love that so much. And I've loved this conversation.
Me too.
If my audience wants to find you or get hold of you, do you have anything coming up or where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at emmadunwoody.com or I am the Human Design Coach on Instagram. I'm also over on LinkedIn if you guys are on LinkedIn as Emma Dunwoody. You can find the podcast, which is the Human Design Podcast. I also have a book that is available in US and Europe. It's just launching. We are days away from launching in the US, which is super exciting. And that's Human Design Made Simple. And yeah, you can, as a manifesting generator, you can find me everywhere. I'm at YouTube, I'm all over the place doing a bunch of different things.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, I hope you've all enjoyed this. It's been such a fun conversation. Like I think vibing with another Manny Jen is just like it's just the energy. We just were like, yes, just get excited about it. So
True.
thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.
So welcome. Thank you.